Woodruff here with another falconry video. This video is going to be entitled Orchestrating Success with Your Bird. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, orchestrating, when you think of an orchestra, right? You have all these musicians who have mastered their trade. They're good at playing their personal instrument, but the orchestra comes together and the conductor orchestrates all of that coming together to play in harmonious, beautiful symphony. That's the idea. In falconry, you are a falconer. You're training your bird. Your bird has all these abilities. It might be fast, it might be strong, it might be smart, it might be agile, it might be very maneuverable. You yourself also have all these abilities. So orchestrating that together is what this video is about. Now, before I jump in, if you haven't already, if you could hit subscribe to my channel, I very, very much appreciate it. Now, when we're talking about orchestrating, you have to understand your bird has no idea what falconry is. Nor does the prey. They haven't heard of it. They're not familiar with it. You come along as a falconer and you're training your bird. Now, if you're new to falconry, or even if you've been doing a while, it's easy to just think, hey, look, a bird's supposed to do certain things. For example, a Cooper's hawk. A Cooper's hawk is a very fast, very agile bird. It's able to catch anything from as small as sparrows to all the way up to jackrabbits, though, more like cottontail size. You got this size range. They're very maneuverable. They're very nimble. You know these things already. But what isn't known is the fact that you are involved. Your bird, you have to train it and you have to orchestrate the whole situation. Where is the bird? Where is the prey? You've got to find your prey ahead of time. What animals are you hunting? What time of year are they out? What time of day are they out? And there's some things that happen automatically without you orchestrating it. So for example, one time I was hunting with a merlin, and merlins are amazing at hunting small birds. I was hunting a big old flock of starlings. I was by these big old power poles, and there was thousands and thousands of starlings. Sent my merlin up, and it was diving through and kind of chasing, ringing them up, and all of a sudden, all of these starlings thought in their heads apparently, hey, there's a human. A falcon's not going to go by a human. A predator's not going to go by a human. So they all landed on the ground right next to me, right at my feet, just a bajillion of them. And when that happened, then they're thinking, haha, we're safe because this predator's not going to come down. And the merlin just boom, and caught a starling right at my feet, right next to me. It was incredible. Well, that wouldn't happen in the wild. So that was an advantage the bird had just by virtue of the fact that the bird had learned what falconry is, but the prey did not understand that yet. There's all kinds of advantages that humans provide the bird to have success, but you need to understand that you have to orchestrate the whole thing. You're the conductor playing the symphony. You have to tell them when to start, when to stop. You have to get the right musicians together, so to speak. All these factors coming together. That's up to you. You cannot just ride on the fact that I've got a bird. Birds are good at hunting. Well, I'm going out. Catch something. Well, where? Where is the prey? Where are you when the prey takes off? You have to factor these things in. Now, in the olden days, for example, people would use a horse, right? You're going on horseback. You're going to plan that. Now, that gives you some advantages that are passive that you don't necessarily plan for. For example, by virtue of the fact that you're on a horse, prey animals like rabbits and hares, they don't know that sound of that four-legged herbivore gait, that doesn't translate as a danger. So they're like, okay, my ears perk up, I'm a little aware, but you can get right close to the quarry where if you were just on your bipedal predatory cruising through, they're like, and they run off. So you can get closer on a horse, plus you are higher up. Already on horseback, you have a better vantage point. Now, also in the field, just by virtue of the fact that you're walking, if you're hunting with something, like let's say you have a red-tailed hawk, you get out there in the field with your vehicle. So already, rather than trudging and making sound the whole way, you're driving exactly to where you want to start. You get out your red-tailed hawk, and then you start walking around. Now, you walking around, you have become a portable perch. You plan that. You orchestrate that ahead of time. And then knowing that, you're going to be able to flush a lot better. Because in the wild, a red-tailed hawk is just going to be sitting up on a tree or telephone pole, looking around, looking as far as it can, and then it's going to dive way far away for something. You become a mobile telephone pole. You become a mobile tree. You're carrying your bird so they can flush closer. You're orchestrating, you're planning that out. Now, a lot of people, I've done a little bit of this, and a lot of people love doing this, is they'll take a T-perch, a big tall one, take a piece of PVC pipe and put some AstroTurf on top, and they'll just let their hawk be that much higher. They're walking around in their field, the hawk is 8, 9, 10 feet up in the air, and it can dive from that vantage point and come back. You're orchestrating that level of success. Sometimes it takes even more planning. So, for example, if you are going to flush for a peregrine falcon, you find a pond with ducks, but you don't take out your bird yet. You go up and you kind of look up over the rise there and you see, yep, there are some ducks. You see which side they're on. Then you back away. You go a quarter of a mile away. You get your falcon take off and you make sure it's upwind. The bird gets up and then you go around to the other side while it's getting up and you flush. And you and the falcon, you have orchestrated success where the ducks are going to be flushing away from you and the falcon is going to dive down and catch them head on. I've done the same thing with my Harris hawks. I had a female Harris that I wanted to train to go after ducks and geese. And she would chase the ducks, but the ducks are smart. The ducks, I would just go in a little canal near my house. And in the winter, the canal is low. The ducks can't go under, so they just have to take off. But they would take off and then go down 20 yards and then go back into the water, and she would bank off. So I'm like, we got to change this. So what I would do is I would have somebody get ahead and start walking down the canal, and the ducks are slowly swimming towards me, walking away from my friend, and then I've got my Harris hawk hiding behind my jacket, and I start walking the other way, and then he charges the ducks, flushes them up, scares them up, and then I, at the last moment, turn my Harris hawk around, and they meet head on. This is orchestrating a successful hunt. It takes planning, it takes thought. There's all kinds of situations that warrant this. Now, some people have concerns about this because at what point does it become unsportsmanlike? Like, for example, car hawking. A lot of people, when I've done this as well, will take, like you got a kestrel and you're going around looking for quarry, and then, hey, there's a flock of starlings, and you go driving past and your falcon kestrel flies out the window and catches a starling. Cool, that's great. Well, some people are like, well, that's not very sportsmanlike. Well, is it very sportsmanlike for you to drive your vehicle all the way out to the point where you're going? Or what if you have dogs? You have well-trained pointers that sniff out and point a grouse for you to then flush. Whatever it is, if you're on a horse, again, you have this high advantage. Falconry started off as a way for birds to help us, but as falconers, we are supposed to help the birds. We're supposed to help them have success. I got the cat meowing in the background. They want success. They want to be able to have a positive experience where they hunt and catch quarry. They do not care if it's a sporting flight. They do not care if it's a big long chase or if it's just boom boom and they catch something. The birds don't care. They want and need success, and they are driven by success. And it is up to us as falconers to plan, to think things through, to understand the weather, to understand the wind, to understand how that whatever prey species you're targeting functions, works, and thinks, and reacts and responds. You have to think all of this through and plan and orchestrate it. So when you are thinking about going in the field with your trained bird, plan it accordingly. Plan it with the idea of orchestrating success. Factor all the things in together. It can be something as little as cutting up your tidbits ahead of time. If you're going to have a little tidbit to occasionally reward your bird or get him out of a bad situation, well, if you already have those little pieces cut up in your falconry bag, you're set. Instead of, oh, there's an emergency situation, I got to hurry and tear off a piece of meat. No, you don't want to do that. You want to plan and orchestrate for success in the field. So think things through, and learn, and always be open to learning new things from your bird, from the biology, from the weather conditions, and from other falconers that have been around. Old falconers can always teach you something new, and new falconers, young falconers who are just getting into the sport, also always have something new that you can learn from them. But again, the attitude is try to have a mindset of you are going in orchestrating an entire scenario. You're the one who knows what's going on. You're the one at the top end planning it. You have the quarry, you have the weather conditions, you have the landscape, you have your bird, but you are the one who has to plan all of this together. And when it all comes together, it can actually be amazing. One of my favorite paintings, there's a Russian artist named Vadim Gorbachev. Love him, just incredible artist. I'm an artist as well, and so I appreciate that this artist, Vadim Gorbachev, had the ability to capture the true essence, but also to do it in a very simplistic way. It seems detailed, but when you look at it, it's very simplistic. He did a painting one time, and it has a Kazakh eagle hunter, and he's got his horse, and he's got his eagle, and he's got his dogs, and he's caught a saiga antelope, and he's happily putting it on there. His eagle's hooded and cropped up, and it's like, well, wait a minute. This is an incredible scenario. How many species you have? You have the human, you have the horse, you have the dogs, you have the eagle, you have the saiga antelope that was hunted. 5 totally unrelated species engaged together. That is orchestration, and that is falconry right there. To be able to orchestrate that many different types of life forms for a common goal and having success. That's incredible. And that's what falconry is capable of, is doing that in the wild. So anyways, these are just some thoughts, kind of some fundamental ideas here. Hope you enjoyed them. If you haven't already, if you could hit subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. And as always, happy hawking.